Yo, what is going on, everybody? It's your boy Marshall live, and I am live. You guys, it is Saturday. Happy Saturday. I don't know if you're watching this live or if you're coming back and watching this on replay. If you're on replay, then you have time to push pause and go grab your coffee because you guys know that in the morning we got to get our coffee in, we got to get our mindset right, we got to get our juices flowing, and we got to get ready for some success. And in today's short video, I just want to talk about something I learned yesterday. So I don't know what you did yesterday. It was Friday. Now, look, listen, tell me am I the only one that does this? Because yesterday yesterday was Friday. It was a beautiful day. The sun was shining and I left to drive south from where I live. And I had no particular destination. Have you guys ever done that? Have you ever had a free day where like you just get in the car and you just kind of drive and you don't really know where you're going, right? I don't know about you, but some of the best days of my life always end up starting like that, right? And it's interesting because I learned something yesterday on a brewery tour. I actually ended up on a brewery tour yesterday. Now, it wasn't like something official. What happened was I was driving down about an hour from south from where I live, and I ended up at a brewery called Tamarack Brewing. And it was great. I had a drink. I had this delicious sandwich. Oh my God, it was so fucking good. And I sat there and I was like, well, what else am I going to do today? Right. What else am I going to do today? And I got to talking to the bartender and she was really personable. I don't know how often you guys ever go to a bar or a restaurant or a brewery or anything like that, how often you guys interact with service industry people, but like it makes the type of bartender or the type of server, their attitude makes all the difference. Like it makes all the difference in the world. I'm sure that you would agree. Hey, before I go into this story and I teach you about what I learned yesterday, because if you're a coach, if you're a speaker, if you're a consultant, if you're a trainer, if you're an expert, if you're a business owner, if you're an entrepreneur and you sell something, this video on what I learned literally is going to transform something in your mind. I want to shift you from maybe where you're at right now to where I hope that you can get, because you've got to understand is that us as entrepreneurs, we like to talk about impact. We like to talk about helping people. We like to talk about changing the world and transforming lives and yada, 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 yada. Well, I'm gonna be honest with you guys, over the last 4 years of being a professional speaker, traveling the world, speaking on stage, changing lives, what I've learned, and this is a bummer for a lot of people. And the reason that I crashed and burned the last year of my life is because I found out some unfortunate truths about the entrepreneur world and especially about the speaking world that, well, quite frankly, it fucking pissed me off. Like it pissed me off. And it got to a point where that anger brought up old wounds and traumas and pains inside of me. And so that ego showed up and it literally made me, shut down my business. I'm going to get to that in a second, but just know, if you're a business owner, if you're an entrepreneur, if you sell something, this applies to you because it's such a fucking important lesson. And in this day and age right now, when there's a pandemic and people are fighting for scraps and trying to make money and they're telling themselves that old bullshit story that nobody's spending money right now, right? That's all lies. And I'm going to explain to you right now the difference between transactions and transformations and what I learned on my brewery tour and what you can learn too, because there's two types of bartenders. There's two types of servers. There's two types of industry people. All right. You guys may or may not know, but I was a bartender for about 11 years. I was in the service industry ever since I was 15. I'm 35 now. So not quite 20 years, but right about 15, 16 years, I was in the service industry. Now, when people see me get on stage and go and speak, I don't do any bullshit slides. I don't have fucking handouts. Like, look, that stuff works. Okay. But nothing, and I don't care nothing beats good old fashioned storytelling. The reason I don't have a bunch of slides and bullshit when I'm up on stage, like people are like, oh, I need to practice. Look, I'm not talking down to anybody. You got to find your style. All I'm saying is that storytellers do it better. The top paid speakers are always the best storytellers. Now, here's what I mean. When people see me speak on stage or when I'm doing videos like this, I get messages. I'm so blessed to get messages from you guys. You reach out, you ask me, Marshall, what's the next step? How can I make more impact? I haven't been feeling fulfilled. I've been making money, but how do I actually make a difference? This is for you. Okay. Then what I'm saying is for you, because people ask me all the time, they're like, dude, how did you learn how to speak like that? And I'm always like, bro, I just learned from bartending. I was a bartender for over a decade, right? And that's what I was reminded of on my little brewery tour yesterday. Here where I live in Flathead Valley, Montana, Flathead County, but Flathead Valley, there's a massive, and I'm talking massive fucking lake in Flathead. It's called Flathead Lake. Real original, right? But it's massive. I'm talking massive. I mean, I grew up in Illinois next to, the Great Lakes. I lived next to the ocean in San Diego for 13 years. Well, 12 years last year downtown. But it's massive. It looks like these giant lakes. Literally, it almost looks like an ocean, right? It looks like a bay, Flathead Lake does. And so yesterday I'm driving. I don't really know where I'm going. I pull over to get some lunch around noon, Tamarack Brewing, and the bartender is just super nice, man. She's making it such an experience for me. It just by interacting, by asking me questions, by sharing energy. She wasn't trying to sell me anything. She was just generally like, "What are you doing? What's going on?" And we get to chat, and she's like, "You should do a brewery tour." I'm like, oh my gosh. So I pull up all the breweries that are around Flathead Lake. There was 4 breweries around Flathead Lake, all spaced about 30 to 40 minutes apart. And I said, you know what? That sounds like fun. I'm going to do that. I'm going to get in my car today, and I'm going to have one beer each place, an hour apiece, maybe a little food. And that's what I'll do on my Friday. And so, I got me thinking, like, if it wasn't for her, what would I have ended up doing yesterday? I don't know. But it was an important lesson I learned, because once I left Tamarack, I went to the next brewery. And the next brewery wasn't so awesome. Okay, now here's what I mean. The next brewery wasn't so awesome. The beer was really good. Like, the beer was great. It was cool, right? But the bartender was just a little different. He was a dude. I was wearing my Make America Great hat again. Like, not a politics thing. I don't even care about Trump. Like, I don't care about that. You guys, I just love America. Like, that's it. Like, I'm a pretty progressive dude. Like, I don't believe in racism. Think all people are equal. Like, I think that there should be child labor laws and, like, all these things. I'm a pretty progressive dude. But at the end of the day, like, I love America. And so, again, not to be all political, but that's why I wear my MAGA hat. Because I'm like, dude, I love America. Okay. It's nothing to do with Donald Trump. But anyway, so I'm wearing my MAGA hat, and this guy's just not being very cool, which is fine. That's fine. Like, that's okay. But why this matters to you is because this is the same thing that happens to a lot of speakers, coaches, entrepreneurs, business owners. This is the same type of thing that happens, is that our emotions and our opinions will start to get in the way of doing our job or actually helping people. And at the end of the day, you got to stop and ask yourself, what is my opinion really doing? Does my opinion and how I'm portraying myself to the world, does it actually get me closer to the goals that I'm setting? Does it actually help me do more of what I want to do? Now, if you're watching this video still and you're like me, there's a chance that you truly do want to help people change their life. There's a chance that you truly do want to transform. There's a chance that you truly want to go out and make a big impact in the world. But if you're like I used to be, then you're stuck around trying to make money. You want to make a big impact, but right now you're stuck on the hamster wheel of like, well, listen, Marshall, I'm going to make a big impact, but first I got to focus on making some money. I got to focus on try to keep my head above water. I'm just trying to figure it out. But dude, soon I'm gonna make an impact. I'm gonna focus on that. Or if you're like I used to be, a little bit further down the road, you'll find yourself a couple of years into entrepreneurship. Maybe you're making money, but you're not aligned with it. And you're like, you know what? I like what I do, but I just feel like there's got to be something more. I feel like I got to do more than teach people digital marketing, or I got to do more than teach people this or teach people that. Like, maybe there's something inside of you that truly wants to help people transform their lives. And this is the same mistake that a lot of people make over and over again. And as a matter of fact, it's the mistake that the second bartender made compared to the first one. This is what I'm saying. It comes down to transactions versus transformation, right? Now, let me explain what that means. Because when I was a bartender for all those years, I used to work the day shift towards the end of my bartending career. I used to work at downtown at a bar called Gaslamp Tavern in San Diego, California, right downtown in the main area. Little sports bar, a few blocks off of the main street. So it wasn't like there was heavy foot traffic all the time. And I would open up at 11 and I would get done at like maybe 4, maybe 5 sometimes. So I would work for like 5, maybe 6 hours. I would walk out with $200-$300 cash plus my hourly tip or plus my hourly wage. Now the girls would come in for the next shift, for the mid shift and for the closing shift. And they would work 8, 9 hours and they'd be lucky to make as much money as I did. Okay. And it would frustrate them so much. I mean, they're pretty girls and I'm just like a homely looking dude. Like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? Yeah, I'm making almost 2 to 1 amount of money that they are. Shit, if you guys go to Gaslamp Tavern on Yelp, I bet you I still have the most reviews, right, on Yelp compared to anybody that's ever worked there. And I haven't worked there for like 4 or 5 years, okay? Now, this is not me bragging about me. I'm teaching you something about the difference of why most coaches fail compared to why, or those that don't, okay? And here's the thing. What I've keep learning is that people who are unhappy, who are leading with opinions, who are trying to prove something, they're focused on their business, on transactions. And people who are secure and happy and fulfilled and aligned with what they're doing, they're focused on transformations. Now, here's what I mean. The reason I used to make more money compared to the other people that I used to work with, who I wasn't necessarily a better bartender, I just always created an experience. What I realized from bartending is that you can buy a beer anywhere. You can get a coffee anywhere. You can learn digital marketing from fucking 1,500 people out there. You can learn how to become a top paid speaker. Well, you can't learn how to become a top paid speaker, but you can learn how to become a speaker from anybody. You can only learn how to become a top paid speaker right here from me, Gillen Gang. But what I realized is that people have opportunities to buy anywhere. I could have gone to any brewery yesterday that I wanted to, right? But I was choosing these certain breweries. The second brewery I'll probably not go back to, not because it was a bad experience, but because there was nothing that is drawing me back in. There's nothing that makes me want to go back. There was nothing that stood out about that makes me want to take action to show it back up again. And that was the main difference when I was bartending between me and the people that I was bartending with, is I would make so much more money. They're like, bro, how are you doing this? Why is it you're working the slowest shift? You work the least amount of hours, you make the most money, and you have the best reviews. How is that possible? And I'm like, you guys, because I'm not focusing on selling. I'm not just focusing on selling them a beer. When they walk in and you guys are going, what do you want to drink? What do you want to eat? Like, you're just asking very regular ass questions, right? Yes, they're there to solve that problem. But if you do it with a little pizzazz and you do it with some energy and how you show up behind the bar, and you use how you show up to create an experience for your guest, they're so much more likely to come back, and they're so much more likely to spend money with you. But the reason that I started doing it is because they were more likely to tip me more money. And so right away, when I was a bartender, I realized that the better stories I told, the more energy I showed up with, and the better experience I created for my guest, the more money I would make. Pretty simple stuff, right? And that's what I was focused on yesterday when I was at the, I wasn't trying to focus on it, but that's what I was thinking yesterday on this brewery, little makeshift self-made brewery tour. I stopped at the first one and she made an awesome experience for me. It was amazing. Like, I had so much fun. The second one, not so much. All right. Now, if you're a coach or you're a speaker or you're a consultant, a trainer, expert, business owner, entrepreneur, whatever, and you're finding yourself having a hard time making money, maybe one of the things that you've been focusing on more is transactions over transformation. And that's one of the things that I love about storytelling. I can tell a story while transforming somebody's life if I know what the feelings and emotions are that my audience has. So, like, when somebody walks into the bar, I know they're either thirsty or hungry or both, right? I know they're thirsty, hungry, or both. I know where they're at right now. So my job as the bartender, which is what the second bartender didn't do, which is what the first one did do, is I already know their starting point. Now, in marketing, in business, we call that our target audience. I know my target audience. I know what their number one problem is. That's all. That's it. That's the secret to sales. That's the secret, the transformation. People will watch me on stage, or they'll see all the testimonials I have of transforming, saving people's lives. I'm like, bro, how do you do that? How is it that you can change somebody in 10 minutes? Like, people watch me on stage and they just don't believe it. They're like, how did you get that man, that stepfather, to listen to you? And then after all these years of not having a good relationship with his stepson, how did you get that grown ass, fucking hard nosed, stubborn man to walk up in the hotel room, grab his kid, tell him I love you, and say, I never want to be the Phil of my story, which is my asshole stepdad, right? Like, how do I do that? Literally, I'm not special. There's nothing unique about me. I just learned how to tell stories. I learned how to create an experience for my viewer, for my audience, for my listener, just like I did in bartending, just like the first bartender did compared to the second bartender. Because what I found out is when I show up when I show up for service, when I show up to help somebody, when I don't ask necessarily what's in it for me, but I trust in the process, and I trust in whatever you want to call it, God, source, universe. When I trust that if I give without expectation, and I truly just focus on my gift, which is, how do I know my audience the best? What is their number one problem? And then how can I make myself better every day to become the best reflection possible for me to be able to create a space for my audience to transform their lives? Now, obviously, it's not that drastic when you're bartending, right? Or doing some kind of brewery tour, but it's just kind of the same mechanism. It's the same principle. Like, on social media right now, we see everybody everybody's trying to prove something. Like, they're trying to prove something. And not that that's necessarily good or bad. You need some fire for fuel sometimes, but by and large, when you're trying to constantly prove somebody wrong, literally all you're doing is creating resistance in your life. And the more resistance you create, the less success you're going to have. And when you're creating resistance and you're spouting off all the time, you're trying to get people to listen to you and you're trying to talk above all the noise and you're trying to prove everybody wrong, you're not doing anything at all besides focused on transactions. And you get very stuck in this rut, right? In this rut where it's just perpetual over and over and over. You wake up, you feel stressed, you feel anxiety, you feel lack, you feel scarcity. How am I going to make money? How am I going to get new clients? All these things. You're like the second bartender who was focused on just the transaction part of it. And a lot of you on social media, that's what you're doing right now. And it doesn't have anything to do with the pandemic. It doesn't have anything to do with politics. It's an old story that you're telling yourself in the head that making money is hard, that making money is stressful, that I've got to do a lot to get money. Like, those are stories you're telling yourself. And what that causes you to do is lead into focus on transactions only. And so, of course, it's going to be hard when you're constantly transactional. Like the second bartender was, people don't really want to come back to you. They don't really want to, experience what you have. And so, if you're watching this today and you've been wondering, how can I make my business stronger? How can I feel more fulfillment? How can I make more money? How can I have more impact? I'm telling you, the number one thing that you can do right now is understand that you need to shift from a point of focus on transactions to a point of focusing on transformations. Because the more that you can create a space and show up in an energy that allows somebody to have an experience, now you creating a space for that experience is where the transformation comes from. I always say, like, me as a coach, as a speaker, what I try to do with my storytelling is I try to tell a story that recreates a world in their mind, so they have a space to step into. And once they're in this safe space that I've created through storytelling, creating an experience, once they step into this safe space, that allows them to have the permission to drop the bullshit excuses, right? And then to be able to reprogram transformation. And so for a lot of you, it doesn't matter what you sell. It doesn't matter, what your product, what your service is. I'm not saying that like I don't care. I'm saying it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you sell HVAC. It doesn't matter if you're a mechanic, if you're a plumber, if you're a coach, if you're a speaker, if you're a babysitter, a teacher. Like, it does not matter. If you want to have more success and abundance in your life, you've got to learn how to move from a transactional, single-use mindset into a transformational experience mindset. And it's just like I said, that's what I was thinking when I was on this brewery tour yesterday. I'm like, dude, you would make so much more money if you didn't act like an asshole. If I could tell you didn't just feel like selling me, you would I would tip you way more, bro. Right? I tipped her really good because she didn't make me feel like she was trying to sell me. She didn't make me feel like I was a burden. She didn't make me feel like she was getting slammed too. That place was busy and she was the only bartender, right? She didn't make me feel any of those things. She made me feel welcome. She made me feel fun. She made me feel excited. She made me feel happy. She made me feel not like important. Like she was focused on my needs when she came up to me. She wasn't checking her phone. She wasn't looking over my shoulder. She wasn't doing 15 things at once. And you guys have heard this, the quote before: how you do one thing is how you do everything. And so a lot of coaches, I listen, it's the experience, the focus, the time that you're putting into actually transforming your audience compared to just trying to create a transaction. I see a lot of you guys out here writing great copy, making great videos, but your customer, your audience, we can feel that you're really just trying to sell us on the back end. When I get on here, dude, I'm just telling stories. I'm usually half stoned. I'm in some fucking board shorts and a hoodie. Like, you guys can tell, you guys can watch me and you know that I'm not here to pressure you to do anything. Like, I fuck up things in my life all the time. I'm scared constantly. And I really don't always know what I'm doing, but it never stops me. I keep investing money. I keep investing time. I keep investing energy into learning from people who have already had success doing what I want to do. So when I show up in my videos, and especially when I show up on stage, people don't feel threatened by me as some expert guru who's trying to fucking make them buy something and tell them all these things. Like, no, they're just like, oh, this dude's like me. This dude understands. And some of them will want to take a next step in my business. Some of them will want to learn how to tell better stories so they can make more money and create more impact. And some of them won't. 80-90% of them will never buy anything from me. But that doesn't matter, because I don't wake up in the morning and go, man, how am I going to get a bunch of money from people today? I wake up every morning and I go, God gave me a gift to transform people with my speech and with storytelling. Who am I going to transform today, right? It doesn't matter. It could be a store clerk, it could be the bank teller, it could be somebody you open a door for, it could be if you have a social media following, people on social media. But I'm telling you guys, in a world full of hate, be the light, right? In a world full of doubt, be somebody that's solid, that's confident, that's certain. create that transformational space for your clients to step into and stop focusing so much on transactions. And I'm telling you, if you can move from a transactional mindset to a transformational mindset, you're going to watch everything in your life go up, 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 and up, and up. Look, everything is connected in life. Everything, all of it. And I know you guys know that. And so what I'm going to challenge you with this week is this weekend, I want you to get clear on a couple things. Maybe you've done this before but you haven't done it in a while, or maybe you've never done it. But what I want you to get really clear on is that I want you to think about what your solution for the world is. So mine is I'm on a mission to save 1 billion lives, that save 1 billion lives with the power of vulnerability and storytelling. I believe that if I can help people understand their story and turn that mess into their message, then they will be inspired to go out and help other people turn their mess into their message, their pain into their purpose. And so when I say, oh, I'm on a mission to save 1 billion lives, save 1 billion lives, I'm doing that because I just want people to stop killing themselves. Because I remember what it's like to be a 13-year-old little boy sitting on the corner of my bed on the farm in Illinois after I just got screamed at all day by my stepdad that I'm a worthless piece of shit and wanting to kill myself. Like, what the fuck? What kind of little 13-year-old boy wants to kill himself? Like, I wanted to kill myself most of my life, all through high school. It was like that. It was that stressful. It was that my trauma was that deep, was that bad. And even now at the age of 35, I still struggle with unworthiness, still doing unprogramming, even though I teach this for a living. And so what I'm saying is that this weekend, I want you to realize that okay, well, one second, let me back up. The reason I created Top Paid Speaker is because I believe that by helping other leaders like me learn how to tell their story, that I can make the biggest impact in the world. So I do videos like this every day. I speak on stage. 80 to 90% of the people will listen to me. They'll make a transformation of their life. 10% of the people will want to do what I do, and they'll pay me to teach them how to get paid to speak and tell better stories. And so you guys see, it's like a double-edged sword. 80 to 90% of the people are getting transformation just from the stories, just from the transformational mindset I'm creating over a transactional mindset, I'm creating. The other 10%, I'm going to train them exactly how to do what I do. And then they're going to go out and they're going to impact that 80 to 90% of their own, and so on and so forth. It's just a freaking butterfly effect. It's the ripple effect. And so that's my solution. And so what I'm challenging you guys with this weekend, if you're a business owner, an entrepreneur who's watching this, if you haven't done it, do it. If you haven't done it in a while, do it. And that is, I want you to get really, really clear on what is that solution? Why is it that you created this solution in your life? Okay. Then I want you to stop and I want you to think, if your ideal client walked up to you, what's the number one thing they're struggling with? What's the one pain or emotion that you wish that nobody else ever had to feel again? Okay. So for me, it's loneliness and unworthiness. That's why I make so many videos. That's why I love to talk to you guys. That's why I like to be relatable and normal, because I just want to create a space for you guys to understand that you can be and have and do anything you want. Literally, I'm the same kid that was lying dead on the floor 12 years ago that now is getting to fucking have Fridays to tour around in breweries and make money from my phone and drink coffee and fucking hang out. Like, yes, I work every day. I work my face off, but it's within a time block because I've created freedom in my life through understanding that it's not about transactions. It's about transformation. If you want to make more money, stop focusing on making money and start focusing on helping people. I know you've heard that before, but maybe you seeing this message again is just a reminder from the universe, from God, that you haven't been doing it up to your capability and it's time to start. So this weekend, I'm going to challenge you to get absolutely crystal clear on what is the number one pain, what is the number one fear that your audience has. And then, all right, I don't usually do this, but I'm going to give you guys a little slice from my paid content. Is that okay with you guys? Do I have your permission to give you? I'm going to teach you something right now that I only teach people who pay me inside of my program. So is that okay that I teach you this real quick? Okay. What I want you to do is I want you to create what's called a story library. A story library. So when my clients start working with me, this is one of the exercises that we do. And so what you're going to do is the prerequisites before you do this exercise is you need to know what the number one problem that your client is having. What's their number one problem? Okay. What's the number one fear? And then who is the ideal audience? So if you know your ideal audience, you know what their number one problem, their pain point is, and you know what fear or what emotion that brings up, now we can get started. Okay. And I'm going to break this down for you. Don't worry. So next, what we're going to do is I want to teach you guys how to tell a transformational story, so you guys can move from just focus on transactions and focus on transformation, so you guys can have more abundance. So let's get to the story library. Let's assume you know those first three things. You know your ideal client, you know their problem, and you know what fears and emotions they have. Okay. So let's do me, for example. I teach people how to turn their mess into their message and become paid speakers. Okay. I know that the number one problem that my ideal client has, it's not figuring out how to do it. It's not all the other things that you may think it is. The number one problem that my ideal client has is they do not feel qualified to get on stage and speak. They don't feel qualified to get on stage and speak. That's the number one problem they have. And the reason that is then the fear it brings up is that it brings up a fear of unworthiness, right? Which is what a lot of us deal with. It brings up a fear of will this ever change? Because it's a repeat pattern. So I know this about my ideal client. Okay, cool. So how then can I help them the most while also serving them, which would mean a sale? Okay. How do you tell transformational stories that sell? That's the real question. And the way we do it is by getting really great at stories. Now, I could literally tell a story about anything that, like, I could tell a story about this water cap, and I could relate it to the number one problem my client is having, right? I could easily relate this to unworthiness and feeling unqualified. Like, once you get good at storytelling, you can pick anything. I could pick literally anything. You could type in anything and I could make a transformational storyteller out of it. How I got there is through this exercise that's called the story library. So what I want you to do is I want you to think about what the biggest challenge you ever faced was. What time of your life was that? What period of your life was that? When was the biggest pain in your life? When was that biggest mess in your life? For me, it's when I was younger and I was living at home, and my stepdad and I used to go back and forth. Okay. The reason I say I want you to get clear on where that pain was, where that mess was, is because we're going to visualize going back there. Okay. So for me, it was my house. So what I do when I teach my clients is, how do we build our story library? I want you to go back to your childhood house or the point in your life, whatever represents to you the worst part of your life, the mess, the pain, right? And I want you to psychologically go into that place. And what I mean is, let's say that mine is my house, because it's my old childhood house. So what I would do is I'd close my eyes. I would feel myself, like literally, I would feel the gravel under my feet. I would feel the air. I'm visualizing this. And I would walk up to my house. I would open the door and I'll walk in. Now, the first place that I see when I walk in is the back porch. It goes down to the basement. There's a little landing there, and then up into the kitchen. Okay. And then there's the kitchen. And then there's the dining room, and upstairs to my bedroom, bathroom, sister's room, spare bedroom, downstairs to the living room, over to my parents' room, like the whole house. I can feel it. But this is the exercise. When you guys walk in there, I want you to stop in each room. So I would first stop in the landing, and I want you to recall a time in your life or a story of pain that happened in that area. And then up to the kitchen, I would go. And what do I remember from the kitchen that was painful? And then into the living room. And what you're going to do is you're going to end up writing down a few stories from your past, okay, that you can use to tell transformational stories. So, for example, let's say that one of the things I remember is my stepdad pushing me into the wall and then me almost pushing him down the stairs. This is when I was a little bit older, fine. I think I was like 16, right? Like that was a moment. It was a moment of anger, of expression. And it was the first time that I really ever stood up for myself. Okay. So that's a story. That's a story of my pain. Now, what emotion was I feeling in that story? I was feeling anger. I was feeling exacerbated. I was feeling helpless. Okay. That's the story. So let's take that story and put it right here on the back end. Now, what in life is your client going through, or is your audience going through, where they're having the same emotion, where they're having the same feelings, where they're feeling anger, helplessness? Like, where in that? Okay. So this is how you tell a transformation story. It's all the details of life and stories are different, but the emotions are always the same. If you're angry and I'm angry, it doesn't matter how we got angry. We're both angry. So I can understand your emotion. I can relate to you through anger because I know what it feels like to be angry. I may not know what it's like to attempt suicide. I may not know what it's like to grow up really rich with parents who didn't pay attention to me. I may not know what it's like to grow up in a house where nobody's around with no food. But that doesn't matter. What matters is we both know what it feels like to be left alone. We both know what it feels like to be unworthy. We both know what it feels like to be angry. And so once you start to develop a story library from the stories in your past, now you have a repertoire of things you can use on the back end to create that relatability with your audience. So now it's simple. It's like, man, Well, let's do something. Let's do this here. Oh man, I was just taking a drink of this coffee, and it's super, super cold. I don't know about you guys, but who here likes cold coffee? Yeah, I don't like cold coffee either. It's like, it's that one thing in my day where it's the staple. It's the one thing I can lean on. And I gotta be honest with you guys, not to get all emotional on you guys, but this cold coffee, it kind of reminds me of the relationship I had with my stepdad growing up. It's a very cold relationship. Have any of you guys here today have any loved ones who you have a cold relationship with, where it just wasn't what it wanted to be? Shoot, you guys, I don't know, but I remember a story about the time that my stepdad and I got in a fight at the top of the stairs. I mean, he had been so cold and calloused and angry and mean to me for so long that after 8 years, it finally exploded, and I almost pushed him down the steps. I've never been so scared in my life. Like, that's a very basic, simple example, but do you guys see how you can take something from right now in your present? It can literally be anything. And if you understand the emotions that lie beneath them, you can tie it back into a story from your past, from your story library, where you can then use that to create transformation within people. Nobody cares if you're right or wrong. Like, they just don't. Nobody cares if you're right or wrong. People care that you're like them. People only want two things in life. They want to be loved, and they want to be part of something, want to be accepted. Okay. That's why you see so much fucking chaos right now. Black Lives Matter, mega this, all the things. It's just tribalism. It's just that people just want, and they want to belong to somebody. They want to belong somewhere because everyone wants to feel alone. And so when you get really, really good at storytelling and you move from your running your business transactionally to running your business transformationally, you will see more abundance in every single area of your life because you will be more energized to go out and create that space for people to step into and have the permission to change themselves. All right. I don't know if I really helped you guys or if I just rambled for 30 minutes, but I love you guys. You know the challenge. Sit down and make a story library today. If you guys want more help on this, just reach out, let me know. Comment below this video. If you guys haven't subscribed to the channel yet, subscribe, ring the bell, because I try to be as consistent as possible. Sometimes I'm not as consistent as I want to be, but you guys are still going to want to hear these. Okay. So you don't have to watch the video, just pop them on, listen to them like a podcast. But I just want to be able to help you guys. Literally. I mean, yeah, I get paid for helping people tell stories and learning how to speak. But like, for most of you, you are the 80 to 90% that's never going to buy anything. And like, you know what? Like, that's okay. Like, you don't have to buy anything from me for me to love you or for me to help you, for me to transform you. Okay. I'll help you. You just got to show up on these lives. You show up in the videos, I'll show up for you. You don't have to do anything. And if you guys want, if you are a coach or a speaker or a business owner or an entrepreneur, and you're interested in learning how to use storytelling to create a bigger impact so you can create more income as well, then I want you guys to go check out my secret paid speaking strategy. Okay. If you guys go to secretpaidspeakingstrategy.com, you guys can find that for absolutely free. And let me know what you think. Let me know how I can help you guys. Let me know how I can serve you guys. That's it. What is today? Saturday? Ooh, oh, I'm so excited. Tomorrow I have a client flying out for a VIP 3-day. So it's very, very cool. A lot of you guys probably are not in a season where that happens yet. For those of you who are coaches and speakers and consultants and all that, if you guys don't have a VIP day set up within your value ladder, you need to get one ASAP. You can charge anywhere from $5,000, $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 for VIP days. Okay. If you have a skill set that can transform people. And so for me, I've been doing VIP days for a couple of years now. This is going to be a VIP 3-day. And the reason is that she invested so much money, multiple. Well, I'm not going to tell you. She invested a lot of money, right? But she invested a lot of money to come out, and she's going to be hanging out with me for 3 days. Like, that's it. Literally hanging out with me for 3 days. And you might be like, wait a second, Marshall, you're charging people to come out and hang out with you? Sort of, right? You've got to understand that my client that's flying out tomorrow for this VIP 3-day, which means she's going to be here for 3 days. She's going to hang out with me every single day. We're going to work on her business. We're going to work on life. But the reason that you might go, well, why would somebody pay you to come hang out with you? That doesn't make any sense. Well, hold up, my friend, because I am making money working from my phone and my computer. I've been doing it for 4 years. I have hundreds of testimonials of people whose lives I've transformed. Every single day I wake up, and because of my success habits and my results rituals and the time blocks and the habits that I've created, I get to have more freedom in my life. She's working nonstop. She works her fingers to the bones. She's excellent at what she's doing, but she wants to get more freedom. She wants to be able to create more freedom through impact. And so you know, for her, she realizes that by coming out and hanging out with me for 3 days, she's going to get to feel what it feels like to live this type of lifestyle. She's going to learn directly by absorbing, by hanging out, by seeing exactly what it is I do. Well, how does Marshall set up his day? How does he get to do this? All right. I mean, imagine the biggest influence in the world. Who's somebody you follow? Tony Robbins, Eric Thomas, excuse me, Mel Robbins. I don't know, Brene Brown. Like, I don't know who you follow. Who's living the dream lifestyle that you want to live? I want to live a lifestyle where I can work an hour or two from my phone every day, where I can transform people's lives, where I get to speak on stage, and everything outside of that is me getting to hang out in the wilderness, or me getting to go out hunting, or me getting to go out hiking, or shooting guns, or whatever the other things are that I like. These are the things that she wants to do. May not be for you, but that's what she wants to do. She wants to have more of a freedom lifestyle exactly like I have. So that's why she invested to come out here and learn. Now, I'm not necessarily telling you guys to invest in my VIP day. If you did, I will literally transform your life and your business. But what I'm saying is, if you personally don't have that within your value ladder in your business, I'm telling you guys, get a VIP day, get a VIP day set up ASAP. All right. All right. Anyways, I love you guys. Have a good weekend. Remember, I had that song stuck in my head from Thomas Rhett, "Be the Light," right? In a world full of hate, be the light. I can't get it out of my head lately. It just keeps staying there. And I just wanted to share this message with you guys today. Like, you know what? There's a lot of hate out there from a lot of scared people. And they're not hateful and angry because they want to be. They're hateful and angry because they were taught that, and because they feel so helpless and they feel so much lack. They feel so much hopelessness that it can't express anything else but fear, and that fear becomes anger. And so I just want you guys to remember is that there's a big calling on our lives. And if you're watching this, it's not by mistake. It's because you're like me. We're all alike. We're light workers who came back here to be able to create that transformation. And so I know it's hard, especially in this day and age, to rise above that negativity, because we're smart. We see the big picture going on, and we just want to shout from the rooftops like, wake up. But shouting at people to wake up is never going to make them wake up. All we can do is create ourselves as a relatable figure in their lives that's going to give them permission to do the things that they want to do. And so be that, in a world full of hate, be that light. And in a world full of hate where everybody's focused on trying to get something for themselves, transactional, shift to that light, to that transformation and that abundance, where you use your stories, your failures, your past to be able to transform other people's lives. All right, that's it. I'm out of here. I'm gonna go shoot some guns. I don't know. My roommate's trying to talk me into trading in my Jeep and buying a Tacoma today. I don't want it, but he's kind of a good salesman, so we'll see. I don't know what's gonna happen. Hopefully tomorrow I don't come back with a fucking Tacoma, but I might. We'll see. So tune in tomorrow, you guys. I love you, and we'll talk then. Peace.